Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 5 of Fasting Forward. I'm John McCulley. I'm a business owner and VP of Operations from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm excited to have you along for the journey today. Today, we're going to be covering something that's really important for any person, but it's identity over image. And I found this scripture and I'm really excited to share it with you in kind of the context it was given to me. But in Matthew chapter 3, verse 16, it says, "And when Jesus was baptized, immediately he went up from the water, and behold, the heavens were opened to him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and coming to rest on him. And behold, a voice from heaven said, 'This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased.'" What a powerful line of scripture there to talk about identity. In that chapter, we see something remarkable happen. Jesus is baptized, but he hasn't performed a miracle, he's not preached a sermon, and he hasn't built a following. Yet God speaks up and says, "This is my beloved Son. With him I am well pleased." Before Jesus does anything public, God affirms who he is. And that order matters because this is where leadership often breaks people. When identity becomes tied to performance and output becomes exhausting, then you can't sustain. Many leaders don't struggle because they lack discipline. They struggle because they're trying to earn approval through achievement. So the first focus today is separate who you are from what you produce. Your work matters, but it doesn't define you. You're not the sum of the efforts you put in the office 40 hours a week. When leaders tie identity to outcomes, it makes them anxious and reactive and overextended, and their identity isn't secure. But when their identity is secure, leadership becomes steady. So as we focus on this today, remember the check boxes on your to-do list, the things that make up what you are able to produce and show on paper don't matter. That's not your identity. The second focus today is to lead from security, not striving, because striving sounds like urgency. Security sounds like peace. When we're always focused on the finish line and we're running the race, we're looking for a medal, we're trying to get on the podium instead of just be good people and just do the job, it doesn't really make sense in our life. It's not going to make you secure, and it's not going to secure who you are in your identity. Security allows you to say no. It allows you to rest, and it allows you to lead without fear. God's approval frees us from needing that constant validation. When we know that we're approved by him, when we've done business with God, when we know that we're right with the house, then everything is clear and we're way more secure because we're making the right decisions from a God who's taught us how to be who we are, and we're doing it from the guideline. So just remember, your security in your identity is your peace. Focus on that peace. Our third focus today is to remove fear-driven pressure from your leadership. Fear-driven leadership looks productive on the outside, but it creates burnout underneath. Because when leaders operate from a clearly labeled identity, when they operate from who they actually are, not insecurity, the team feels that. They feel the strength of a person who knows who they are and is being authentic. If that insecurity is there, though, they're not going to feel safe. If you're secure, they feel safer, they perform better, and they trust you more deeply. You see, Jesus didn't earn God's approval. He received God's approval, and the same truth applies to us. If you know what God says about you and you know who you are and you're being authentic, you will gain approval from people. You don't have to ask for it. It will come naturally. Your insecurity shows, though, you'll feel untrusted. You'll feel burdened. You'll feel like people don't like you. You'll feel like circles are talking about you behind your back. Just be secure in who you are. Let God show you who that is. So we always want to make sure we tie this back to biblical fasting. Biblical fasting helps reset identity. When we fast from food, productivity slows, energy dips, performance is limited, and that's the point. Because fasting exposes where we've tied worth to output. It forces us to ask, who am I when I'm not producing? Man, and I know if you guys are like me, you're feeling it. These mornings are getting longer and I am feeling tired. But God is revealing things. Hunger becomes an invitation to rest in God's approval instead of striving for validation. For leaders, fasting reminds us that our value doesn't rise and fall with results. Identity rooted in God produces leadership that is healthy, grounded, and sustainable. So, as we close out today, let's say this prayer together. God, help me rest in who you say I am. Free me from striving for approval. Separate my identity from my performance and quiet the fear that drives pressure and overwork. Teach me to lead with security, not anxiety. Let your voice define me more than outcomes or opinions. I receive your approval today. Man, what a strong word of prayer. This has been such a cool journey. I'm so excited for what comes next. We're doing a little bit of a rewrite on tomorrow, so I'm not going to tease the subject yet, but you'll see it shortly. Day 6 coming to you on Saturday. So excited to continue to hang with you guys. See you next time.